This backsplash project is starting to look really good. So far, we've cleaned off the drywall backsplash, applied double-sided tile setting mats to the area, and laid out most of the tile. And because we're using a staggered subway tile on sheets, I haven't had to face the wet saw yet. But it's time.
The wet saw is going to make this project a whole heck of a lot easier than the typical snap cutting tools that you see at home centers, okay? So this does take a little bit of training, but once you get used to it, it's a great tool to have and it makes this project go a lot quicker. Okay, so here we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure our tile with our blade. We're going to hold the tape measure up to the blade. We need a 2-inch tile. We're going to pull the deck back. This is where the saw goes on. Just be careful. As you can see, the blade is very close to my fingers, so you have to be very careful with this tool.
This can be a very intimidating, scary machine. The tiles are small, your hands are close to the blades. Any words of advice for somebody like me who rents one of these for the day?
If you've never used one before, don't go out and rent one and use it for the first time by yourself. Work with somebody that has worked with one before so you get trained in the wet saw so you don't hurt yourself.
I'm taking Sean's advice. Today is simply my training day on the wet saw. As far as I'm concerned, for now, I'll leave the cutting to the pro.
Okay, we've got some of the tiles cut. Let's get back to the backsplash and install them.
All right, after you.
Believe it or not, this project is almost complete. With all the tile up on the backsplash, the last step is to grout this baby.
So we're just going to start out by putting a good heap of grout in the bottom of our bucket there. And then we have to add some water. This grout acts like a bonding agent between the tiles.
Yeah.
So when we mix the grout, it's got to be thick enough to stay within the grout lines of the tile.
Once the grout is mixed to a nice smooth consistency, it's back to the wall to finish the job.
So we're going to work as fast as we can, making sure that we get the grout in the grout lines where it's supposed to go. We're going to use our float to press it in. And then as soon as we get the backsplash grouted, we're going to want to clean up our mess right away.
Now the important thing is to just make sure it all gets in the middle of those.
That's right. Press it in between the tiles into the grout lines.
How much time do you have after applying this before you have to absolutely wipe off the excess?
We want to make sure that we get this cleaned up in about a half hour. Hey Ryan, I'm just doing a final wipe down, getting all the grout haze off of the tile. And I might have to do that again in a few hours, but for the most part, we're done. This is your backsplash tile.
Those tile setting mats saved us about 24 hours on this project. Without them, we would have had to wait a day for the thin set mortar to dry before grouting. So for under $300 and in just one day, this plain drywall backsplash looks like $1 million. A great DIY project to add some value to your kitchen. Shh.